18 months ago, we set off to drive this camper van from Alaska to Argentina, 30,000 miles across 2 continents, the biggest road trip in the world.
We've been getting a lot of messages from you guys saying it's physically impossible to drive from Alaska to Argentina. And I have to admit, that's actually true.
What do you mean it's not possible? Why not?
Well, Kim, because of the Darien Gap.
The Darien Gap is one of the most dangerous places on Earth. It's a 100-kilometer stretch of impenetrable jungle between Panama and Colombia, with extremely mountainous terrain and 0 roads. It's a hotspot for drug smugglers who traffic cocaine up to America and migrants trekking through the gap hoping to reach the US. As there are no roads in the Darien Gap, only 7 expeditions have ever made it across in a vehicle.
And let's face it, we're not going to be number 8 in this vehicle.
But we're not letting that stop us from achieving our lifelong dream of the past 2 years to complete the world's longest road trip. I mean, we already made it to the bottom of Central America. So, welcome to Panama, famous for beautiful blue water, the Panama Canal, and tax evasion. As the Darien Gap is a no-go zone, we have only one place to turn to get to South America. In Panama City, you can get your vehicle onto one of these massive cargo ships that sail around the Darien. Sounds easy, right? Well, in this video, what starts as a simple plan quickly turns into its own adventure, from navigating Panama City's roughest neighborhoods and trying to outsmart the thieves who operate on these ships, to coming up with the money for the sky-high shipping prices.
That brings the grand total to for the shipping.
If we want to get to South America, we have 72 hours to complete the process of getting Vinny onto a ship. First stop, the Panama City police station.
We came here this morning to get to the police station because we need an export approval stamp, something from the police here. But in all of our travels in 5 years, this is the sketchiest neighborhood I've ever seen. I'm afraid of even parking here.
Without a police report confirming our van is cleared for shipping, it can't leave the country. So while Naick queued up at the police station, I decided to stay in the van alone. Within a couple minutes, there was a guy creeping around the car.
This feels really weird. Like, I had the pepper spray in my hand, that's how weird it was.
Luckily, a police officer chased him off. And now the police officer is literally just standing by the van to make sure that I'm okay. After 4 long hours of waiting at the police station, our van was finally up for inspection. All they check is if your car documents match the VIN number on the car, to make sure it's not stolen. The inspection took 30 seconds. But then Naick had to go back to the police station to wait for the official paperwork saying the van can leave the country. Last time we shipped our van internationally to get it from Europe to the Americas, our biggest concern was making sure it was clean and tidy. But in Central America, the shipping game is a different kind of beast. You want your van on that ship, they're gonna make you work for it.
Alright, I got the paper. It's now 4:45. I have obtained the export authorization. It only took about almost 11 hours, but we have it. Kim, what happened to the van? You were supposed to clean it?
I was cleaning it, but you know how they say that it always kind of has to get worse before it can get better? We only have 2 short days left to make sure the van is in tip-top shape when we take it to the port. But the shipping company had another surprise for us. So we just got an email from the shipping agent. We're gonna have to do something a little bit dodgy. In the back of the van, we have this big-ass battery that powers our lights, our fridge, all of our electronic devices.
This is our battery.
And the shipping agent just told us that apparently we cannot ship that to Colombia in the van. It has to go
explode.
It has to go on a separate ship.
They told me to contact his WhatsApp number, so I sent him a message. Apparently his name is Boris. He said, oh, let's meet up at the gas station. I was like, what? Shouldn't we meet up at the port? So we're gonna give our $1,500 battery to a guy at a gas station.
Despite how time-consuming the shipping was turning out to be, it was pretty cool getting to ship our van from here, right next door to the Panama Canal that handles 6% of all shipping on our planet. 2 hours later, we met Boris, and he actually seemed like a stand-up guy, which made us feel a lot better about giving him the source of power for our entire household, without knowing how it was gonna get to Colombia or how much that would cost.
Since our good friend Boris now has our battery, we can't run the fridge anymore, we don't have any lights anymore in the van, and we can't turn on any fans anymore, so it is smoking hot in the van inside. So we've decided to come to Ta-da-da.
So today's our last full day. Tomorrow morning we have to bring it to the port, or we are nowhere near ready. Let's do this! When you ship internationally, there's a lot of rules you need to follow, even for a shipment as short as this one. Some of the rules the shipping companies have make sense. Propane canisters, more flammable stuff. But some of the other stuff. Hi sir, are you the shipping agent? I would like to ship my van from Panama City to Colombia. So how long will it take by ship?
Just half a day.
Oh, that's great. So we can drop it off in the morning and then we pick it up the next day?
No, 2 weeks later. A little bit extra for paperwork.
For paperwork. Okay, but then I guess we can just leave all our stuff in the van, right?
No food, no clothing, no chemicals.
And so how much will it cost?
$5,000 just for me.
$5,000 for just a few hours on a ship?
Big ship.
But then the $5,000 is the total price, right?
No, people in the port in Panama, Colombia asked extra. You will see.
Okay, that all sounds like the best deal ever. Let's do it. And have a great day, sir.
No.
I took everything out of the food pantry, everything out of the freezer, everything out of the fridge. Now on these ships, it is very common to actually have quite a bit of theft. Chris and Marianne from Thread the Globe, they had their van shipped to the US a few years ago, and they actually did have a bunch of their stuff stolen from inside the van.
Carnage.
It is carnage. I feel like my whole home has been invaded and I just don't understand.
So the stuff that does stay in the van, you hand over the key, the van is unlocked on the ship, and pretty much anyone who doesn't have the best intentions can just go inside and roam.
We're gonna try and put all our valuable stuff underneath the bed here. This fits like a glove. Now this looks like a closed compartment.
And then we're gonna put the table back here, put the pillows back. I mean, good idea. Okay, so it's now 4 p.m. and we've done a lot of things. We've emptied out most of the cupboards, and now we still have to pack everything up, clean everything, find a place to empty our toilets, just get the van clean on the outside as well. So it's becoming a little bit stressful. Boris, if you ever see this, this is on you. You know that feeling how when you go on a trip, sometimes you're so busy just finishing up on work stuff, packing your things, looking for your passport or whatever, and you don't really realize anymore until you're set to go in the morning that you're actually going on a really cool, really big trip. Well, that is exactly what I have right now. We've been so caught up these past 2 days in all this van stuff and just like working around the clock, against the clock, trying to make this happen, that now that we're on our way to the port to actually drop the van off, it's starting to sink in that we're doing this, that we're taking our van to South America, to travel all across South America and all of the cool adventures that we're going to have. And now it's like, oh my god, this is going to be so amazing. What are you most looking forward to in South America?
The mountains in Peru. It's beautiful views, but also not being hot all the time anymore. That's also going to be really, really nice. And then maybe also visiting the Amazon. I think that's gonna be so cool. Maybe we're gonna try visit some tribes and some cool markets that are on the water and some stuff.
It's crazy saying this, but if we can actually get Vinny on the ship today, I won't say we're in the home stretch of driving him to Argentina, but it feels like we're close.
No one's gonna get in here. We've secured the table with this wooden slat.
After one final check, it was time.
Good luck!
Bye-bye.
So, brief summary of what happens at the port because you'll never guess, but it takes hours. Basically, I was not allowed to go inside.
Alright, I just entered the port.
Naick took the van to customs and waited for his turn. They actually made him unscrew all our locks and the slats so they could inspect our stuff. All this took 3 hours. Then we had to pay yet another big invoice for the port on the Panamanian side. When we get to Colombia later in this video, we'll have to pay again, and then we'll tell you the final price. Since Vinny is too tall for a shipping container, we booked him on one of these ships. It's called a roll-on, roll-off ship because, well, that's exactly what they do. And now the big moment, the port authorities are driving Vinny off direction South America. Let's hope he comes out in one piece on the other side in Colombia. You'll find out together with us later in this video. Before we show you how we're getting to Colombia, we're going to show you around the best bits of Panama City, starting with Casco Viejo, Spanish for the Old Quarter. This was founded in 1673 after a pirate attack destroyed the original city. From here you have great views of the skyline of the more modern part of Panama City.
Wow, this is really, really beautiful. I didn't expect it to be this nice actually. So we see photos of Panama City, it's mostly modern areas. Because when you see pictures
And of course, we visited the famous Panama Canal. Naick ran into Morgan Freeman.
It's one of the most famous places on Earth. But few of us understand how the Panama Canal works.
The visitor center has a 3D movie narrated by the man himself on how the canal was built and how it works. Basically, the Panama Canal is like a giant water bridge that connects two oceans, the Atlantic and the Pacific, which turns crossing from one ocean to the other from this into this. The terrain the canal was built on was very hilly, so the Panama Canal sits a bit higher than sea level. That means to get ships in and out of the Panama Canal, they use these special water gates called locks, which are like water elevators for ships. The locks lift the ships up into the Panama Canal and put them back down on the other end. Watching these giant ships slowly move through the locks was impressive. I think this is just so cool. There is very little margin for error. After exploring the city, Naick also did a spearfishing course here in Panama City. Well, technically a short boat ride away.
Wow, what a beautiful place this is. It's just 30 minutes from Panama City. It looks like you're in paradise.
This is Robert, his spearfishing instructor, and the other student, Danielle. Doing a spearfishing course has actually been on Naick's bucket list for quite a while. You guys know how much he loves fishing, and this is kind of the cooler, wetter version of that. They learned how to use a spear gun, how to dive down on a single breath to look for fish, and how to not spear your buddies in the process. Because the visibility wasn't great, they didn't catch anything because, again, don't spear your buddies, but Naick learned so many valuable skills and loved the course.
Okay, I spent 3 days in total with this wonderful gentleman. They both managed well, and I have to congratulate you.
Oh, thank you.
You passed the course, Daniel.
Thank you. Officially, we are spearfishermen now.
Yes, spearfishermen.
Congrats, Daniel.
Congrats.
Once we were sure Vinny was on his way to Colombia, it was time for us to go too.
Good morning. Today is the day that Vinny is supposed to arrive in Colombia, and I just checked on our tracking website. He's on his way and he will get there by 10 p.m. tonight.
So initially, our plan for how we're going to get to Colombia was to take a sailboat 3 or 4 days and cruise through these dreamy islands in Panama. That is, until we check the weather forecast. As we flew over the Darien Gap, it started to dawn on us that we were really actually going to South America. Hopefully with the van and our battery in one piece. We were excited and a little bit nervous. So, welcome to Colombia, guys. We had to wait several more days in Cartagena because once Vinny arrived in the port, he had to be inspected, etc. You know the drill. And we spent all that time working inside our hotel room to make some extra cash. The first business day after Vinny arrived, which is day 12 since this whole shipping business started, Naick had to go down to the shipping agent's offices to sign some documents.
Lady, question. When will you give me the battery?
Give you battery? What do you mean?
You bring battery for us from Panama to Colombia.
No, you shipped the battery for me. I gave my battery to Boris.
No, you give me.
Please just double check in your system.
How big is battery you have? Like this?
It took a little bit of back and forth, but eventually the shipping agent realized that they did indeed have our battery somewhere in a container in the port of Cartagena. So to make a long story short, the next day there was more signing of documents, we had to pay more invoices, and a few days after that, it was finally time.
Alright, today's the day. They said we can pick him up in 1 hour. I'm really excited about this. Also a little bit nervous because we don't know if he's still in good condition, if they stole our stuff or not. I have to wear a long pants, I have to wear closed shoes, and I have to wear a long sleeve shirt in 35-degree weather. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Is that Vinny? That's Vinny. Alright, Vinny. I think everything looks pretty fine. Everything that we closed up is still closed. Oh, Vinny. Wow, that's so nice.
Oh my god, I'm so happy. I'm happy to be back inside my little house. The only problem is still don't have our battery.
Colombian boys just sent me a message that in an hour or about an hour, you know how it goes here, we can pick up our battery.
So we're sitting in the harbor waiting for Colombian boys to show up.
I learned something really funny that I actually never expected. There were a bunch of trucks coming by with cows on them. And I was like, to the guard who was standing there, I was like, do these cows also go on the boat? He's like, yeah, they're shipping them off somehow in Arabia and the Arabian Peninsula. They buy old cruise ships where people go on a cruise that are not in use anymore. They buy them, they convert them a little bit, and then they put 20,000 cows on a cruise ship to the Arabian Peninsula. How crazy is that? The final piece of the puzzle. Woo! It works. We have light, we have power. Alright, now that we've picked up the van and paid everything that we owed
To everyone.
have the final price of the cost of the shipping.
We shipped with IVSS. We also shipped with them last time when we shipped the van to Canada, and we were very happy with them.
So the cost of the shipping itself that we paid to IVSS was $4,607. That's only for the boat itself, let's say. And there was $370 insurance, insure the vehicle on the boat. $250 handling fees in the port of Panama. $250 to ship our battery separately. And then we paid $1,300 in Colombia, which includes the port fees and handling fees and fees for the agent. So that brings the grand total to $6,777 for the shipping. And that doesn't include the hotels that we had to pay,
Our
flights
flights.
that we had to pay.
And we did question a few times on this trip so far. Like, isn't it good enough if we just drive from Alaska to Panama, leave it at that?
Yeah. And we saw the price, we thought, well, maybe we should just ship it home because that is even less expensive. $5,500 to ship it back to Belgium, which is 3 weeks. And then we would have saved all that money of shipping it to Panama. But, you know, you can always get more money. You can earn more, you can work more, save more. But this adventure, I think this is a once-in-a-lifetime adventure that we are doing. And we're not going to let us stop us by some number on a bank account. This is a lot more valuable to us. Here, present. To forget about price.